Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to part 22 of the EVA pod build. Today we're going to actually glue the door in, get the door glued into the back half, and then get the headlights installed and start wiring them. So let's take a look. Oh, here's the earmuffs. This one I already did the chrome around those little ports there. I love the way it looks. So, and I just used this chrome marker with a high liquid, liquid chrome. What is it? The company's name AIYE. I think I found them on Amazon or something like that, or maybe eBay. I don't remember. I got a whole pack. This one's a 1mm tip. I got another one that has 3mm, and then I got the golds as well. But I'll show you one of these. Have a little shake. I'll show you one of these and then I'll do the rest off camera because it does take a little bit. You have to be really steady. And I do like to use this so I can really see if I'm hitting the edge, but I usually start with a small one first. And I love the way it flows. So, and then I'll tilt it a little bit just to get a little bit of the side. Oop, I went way off there. That's okay, I can clean that up. But there, that's the small one. The big one sometimes can be trickier because you're looking at a white raised part that you want to color, but it blends in with everything that's white. But once you get used to how it flows, it comes out pretty good. There, I like that. I got a little whoopee down there and I hit the surface there, but it's best to let that dry before you try to clean that up, because otherwise you'll just smear it. And these are supposedly, oh, and you always want to put the cap back on them. These are supposedly an alcohol based. Like I had a little whoopee there. Let's see if I can get rid of it. Yep. It's a little harder than like just scraping off an oops with paint. It kind of bites into the paint that you already laid down. Especially if there's a clear coat, which there is. It kind of wants to, being an alcohol base, it must eat itself in a little bit. All these look good. I don't think that was the only oops I had on that one. Yep. This one's a little bigger of an oops, but like I said, it's probably best here because I think if I touch it now, it's just going to smear. Maybe not. Yeah, a little bit. Still hasn't permanently dried. Yeah, so I'm going to let that alone and clean it up later. That's an easy clean once it cures. I don't want to make more of a mess. But yeah, I'll pause now and I'll do the rest and show you what it looks like done. Alright, both done. Very happy. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you can get in there. I definitely like, let's turn the camera light on. Like that. Definitely like the shininess now of those. But just on that outer rim, and that's it. So works great. That's how they had it on the actual set pods. So okay, just wanted to show you that really quick. I guess I could show you, do a lot of the decals on camera because it's just tedious. Little words everywhere. But yeah, here's the front of the hull. Get rid of that light. Take a minute for everything to probably focus back in, but yeah, I got all the little decals, especially these here on the rim. Caution stuff there. There's one there. Bunch on down in here. Not a whole lot, and then there's the two on each side of the manipulating arms. But some of these you just kind of have to guess where, because you can't really see from their sheet, and it's different on every picture from the model to the set pieces. But I just pretty much made sure all those were in like one plane, so I kind of started with this one because I didn't want to go up on that little detail part, and then I just eyed those across that way. And same here, just try to keep things parallel best you can. That was what, like, all these little ones on here. It's like, what do you do with it? They're different on everyone. They don't really make sense in how they were put on there. And like I said, I just made sure these here had a 90 degree to this piece here. And so that's what I did. And that one there too. It makes them look a little tilted, I guess, but oh well, it looks good though. Those are just tiny detail. So, but yeah, this one's ready. We're ready to getting these headlights in and getting Howl up and running too. But I think I'm gonna do a chrome ring just on that inner ring right there. I did a gun steel on the inside to keep it darker. Did the silver there. I'm gonna do the chrome on there, but I gotta see how the clear part fits in. Is it something I should do now or put the clear part in and then do it? So we'll see how easy it is, because I can actually get that clear part in. But like I said, I'm working. Next thing to do is do these. I already got these drilled out, so next thing to do is do these, and then we can actually get it all wired up, and then we can put this thing together. So I got the bottom track glued in, and we're getting ready to actually put the door in, but I had to get this light up and running, and that's working good. Do another test just to make sure before we go any further. Yep, that's lighting. Light for the camera. I glued all the lights in for the headlights, which are going to look cool. They're in there. I got them good and dried, so they're ready. But yeah, what are we up to next? It's just putting the door in. So I guess nothing to it but to do it. Here we go. Everything is good. And that one's nice and secured and glued. Yep. I probably should do a dry fit. Let's see what it'll say. Yeah, that's what it'll say. That's where she wants to sit. I probably should have done another dry fit for this, but I think we're ready to do it. I'm going to leave, I left this one unglued just so it has a little, really isn't going to move much because of the way the curve, these being glued, it's going to keep it kind of together, but at least it has a little relief in case it does need to push out because of hitting these. But it's doing really good on my other tests, but just in case, because we are gluing stuff and things are going to be tighter probably than before because I made sure that was nice and tight. So probably the best thing to do is do this without the door in case we drip. I already scuffed a lot of the paint off of this. I'll even shoot a little bit in here just to make sure. Before I do that, the door's got to go in. Make sure we don't hit, because I see glue ready to drip there. don't want the doors really close to those pegs. I don't want any glue dripping down on it. So here's the fun part. Getting you in first and lined up, because that bad pin. Oh, nice. Thank you for being so cooperative. I think breaking that piece off and re-gluing it was the best thing I did for that. I was just going to do away with it, but I was figured I'd still like to have a little bit of some structure there when the door moves. Let's see what we look like from this side. Yay! It's so nice to have a door on. I don't want to push it too tight. I want a little slack there. Let's even see if we can get this door to open. Yep. It's working. I like how that's not allowing a door to scuff that plastic. It's great. And we still are getting a little springiness there, which is good too. So I think it's a good deal not to really glue that one on. I think those two alone will do suffice. But we do want to make sure it's not overly open. There we go. I think the best thing to do now is just to let her set. And I think, you know, it's almost like you want to put a little grease on the track here. And the wires are coming over that, no problem. Make sure we don't have like a ultra gaps. I want a little bit so it doesn't scrape. I want ultra gaps. Down the bottom looks great. So the bottom glued itself together pretty good. Just these two, I gotta make sure they're in there. Leave it just like that. Just let it alone. Let her cure. But yeah, once that door cures, we can put the interior in. You know, it's been so long since I've seen any of this start up. Can I get anything working? Got a couple. That's awesome. And then the other one should be the buttons. And all those are still lighting up. It's been a while since I kicked this on. Beautiful. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that. And we're going to get started here on putting these headlights in getting Hal in there too. Because Hal's going to actually plug into that part of the circuit board. So he comes on with the monitors. And I hit the switch for monitors. So, but just want to show you that. Door's glued in. Next thing, getting his front lights on. Alright, got the two lower ones, which I have the 5mm LEDs in there to be more of a different looking light, more like maybe, you know, come off as like a floodlight or something. And let's drop these in, smaller ones. What I'm doing is I'm just dropping them in first. I'm getting the glue in from behind, but at least this way I can make sure they're down setting in. Really nice. press them down with a toothpick. Let the glue sit in a rim. Try not to get my fingerprints in there, but I found that a little isopropyl alcohol seems to be cleaning them up pretty good without actually harming the chrome. The solvents will. You can just use regular water, but it also had sticky stuff or something going on in there. So that's what I've been doing. It cleans the bulbs and cleans its chrome so we get a nice shiny. Don't want to leave fingerprints in there, but we can double check on that before we put the clear glass on. Alright, now if they don't fall out, because they're in there pretty tight. They're in there snug, not tight, but snug. Let's look at them here. Make sure the prongs are going ways that I like. And I do. Now I'm going to use some thin set that'll get right in there in the cracks. If we can get it in there because it's way down in there. It's a tough thing. It's way down in there. So all I have to do is hit one side and it'll flow around the circle. Work it again. Make sure everything's still down good. Sometimes the glue actually, if there's any paint or anything there, it'll loosen that paint up so things can fall down better. Instead of actually loosening up. You have to sneak drop in this way, which you can. I gotta be more careful. And, oh, there my finger hit it. That was not good. Forgot the prongs on the back of the LED are so long yet. I'll try to sneak it in the corner there. There we go. Without hitting the chrome too much. Beautiful. But then we're going to back it up with a better glue. Those are great for holding things. You know, they weld really good too, but these I'd like to have a little more strength to them. And this I can definitely get down. This wonderful needle applicator. I can actually get in tough places like this. There we go. I also like to wipe these needle applicators down before I close it up. Otherwise this cap gets all blurry. There we go. And I'll use the real quick set. And that'll kind of actually help the other glue set faster because it's adding enough solvent to it. There we go. Just make sure we didn't have any bleed through. Nope. That looks wonderful. There. Press around the rim, make sure we're down tight. And that's it. Headlights are in. Let's clean this one last so I have a semi-wet Q-tip. It's really showing my fingerprints. Beautiful. There she is. Got the chrome ring on the Howl part too, which I like. Get a little flicker of it. Yeah, now we can wire her up. So we'll let this cure for a little bit before we start tugging and poking. And then, yeah, it's just going to be as simple as boom, 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 boom. Parallel. jumper, jumper, jumper. And then we'll send off to one main power. How we got to put the house clear part in. And then he's going to get one red light, and he's going to attach to these guys. Or no, he's going to go to the circuit board. He's actually going to be hooked on with monitors, that's correct. So we just got to connect these all together and then get that light from the camera that's over here over to it. So I'll send a long tail off of this. I'm going to have to be 2 tails, but we'll get to that once these cure. Let's let these sit and cure. Probably best to let it sit like that and let it cure. Actually, probably even better like that. So it's sitting down. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll start wiring this up. Well, we're getting these headlights wired. I already did the resistors on them and looped. This is the positive, this white wire. I'm going to leave it white because I'm using a white switch to control it. So that's a good way to mark this, because this one's going right down to the switch. So I think I figured around 35 centimeters of wire coming off of from here. Plus I got to figure about, I think 20, just to be safe, for it to come into the pipe. But from the rod to the base, through the base to the switch is 35. So I'm gonna guess just the even 20 for here. The negative won't have to be so long because it's going to group with the negatives here. So there's going to be just one negative coming up from the base. So they're all going to join there. So, but what else I got going on here? So yeah, that's the loop. This is my last wire because I'm starting my loop here, so it's just a quick loop. And then what I got here is I took one of these old battery things. I can use those wires. I'm going to use that for the positive and negative to go to the camera light, since the camera light's going to come on with the headlights. And I'll just, on the other end, I'll cut this off. I'm going to solder one of these on so I can have it plug in from the camera, which will be coming, down and around like this. That way I can just take that and just go ploop and plug it in, and now it's part of that circuit. But, having it plug in is much, nicer, because then I can put this half together and then plug it in. Don't have to worry about soldering or anything. So, all snap together. And if for some reason if you ever wanted to take it apart, you can take it apart and then the halves can come apart freely, for the most part. Alright, so let's solder this guy on here, and that'll complete the positives. Shrink tube here, we'll slide over. And there we go. All nice and clean. Yeah, so now this will sit like this. I'll just attach that negative yet. When we do the negatives, cut this off and put a different connector on it. And then I'll be able to plug that in, and this is the main power from the switch, which will feed those lights and feed this. Alright, so I guess not to have this spool dangling around, I guess we should start measuring this off. And I wonder if I should bring the rear end in. It'll give me a more accurate measurement. Our door's in, and here's the leads I already did for the camera, which these will eventually plug into. Might not even need that much wire with this other connector. Yeah, great. Yeah, and those will should right in. That's perfect. With some extra, but we can tuck some extra in the earmuff. You know, I like a little slack. I don't like things too tight. And then this is our cable for our door light, which plugs in to the red lights towards the back. But we gotta let's get figuring out what we need to figure out here. Okay, I see what you're gonna do. Let's just keep you outside. Bring you out that way. Closing up here. I've dry fit this thing before. I went together pretty. Oh, I see what's going on. That's why. Because you're on the outside, or on the inside. You're supposed to be on the outside. Thank goodness the earmuffs cover these joints. Our biggest joint to fix will be this. There we go. It's kind of neat to see it together, but it is fitting pretty tight, but not as nice as this half, as the bottom attached to the back. It's still pretty good. Not too bad. That's the area I thought would be, but I've seen worse. We'll have some puttying. But it's okay. Because we gotta fill those points in anyway. They're really not too bad. So, let's get to what we're doing here. Okay, so we're gonna say that's gonna take about from there with a nice amount of slack, so I can. And let's try to mark that, and then we'll do 35 off of this. I'm gonna give it a little more. Alright, so there's our mark. Now we can cut this off. It's the first long coil, but this is the one that's coming direct. Everything else, I can have tails coming up through the pipe. This one's gonna have to go all the way. But that's pretty much going. We'll go off of that. I'll get the negatives done, and then I'll come back and we'll do a test. So we're all wired up as far as the headlights. Here's our main feeds. This one's gonna go all the way down to the switch. This one the negative just has to hit the bundle of negatives that are on this. Oh, if I can get that in the camera. On this, there's a bundle of negatives here that we'll attach that all to, and then these will get the other 3 switches. But this one's going to go right, the white one here, and this for the headlights is going to go right direct down. Bypass this, where the other ones are going to come up and do the circuit board. And then Hal's eye is going to get plugged in there with the monitor, so we're just going to run a whoop right to that. But yeah, that should make it pretty good, yeah. And then we'll have one negative go down to the main power switch. And this will go to the headlight switch. And this one will connect to the camera light, since that's all on the same circuit. Alright, but we can use that to test these headlights. Now let's put some alligator clips on these real quick. Where are they? There they are. Actually, these would probably, yeah. At least we can test this circuit and make sure these headlights are working. I could connect to these, but if it's coming through here, it's going to come through there. I mean, we'll definitely do a test through this before we finalize everything, a little later, but for just something quick, this is the easiest way. I don't have to strip anything. Let's see if you can grab the whole thing. You should be able to. Hey, nice, see headlights come on. Nice. We'll definitely have to blacken. There we go. We'll definitely have to blacken these, because look at the light that's coming from the backside. So let's see if we can, well, losing massive power here. Probably going to. Oh, maybe not. Hey, that looks good. And you do notice a little bit of difference. It's not a huge one, but just a little bit of difference from the 3mm and the 5mm. We'll see if any of that changes with the lenses put on there. But there she is. Finally got headlights. Now, next is Hal. We gotta get Hal working, and then we can close this. Well, and then I gotta do the window here, because we gotta do this windowsill. I remember something about people saying there's a windowsill, and I'm gonna do that in a real flat black, so it looks kind of like a gasket going around it, and sealing it. But yeah, we got to do that, so I'll just run some pinstriping tape in there and do both sides and do that in a flat black. So, and then we can close it, because we got to get that window in there first. But we got Hal's window in there, his lens, and what else did I do? I took a little piece of styrene, cut it the shape. We can disconnect this now. That way we can. There's Hal right there. And he's a little round circle, so I took a template, my circle template, found out one that's a hair bigger than that, even though I probably cut it smaller. I painted the styrene. I used a black piece, so that'll help light block too. I painted the styrene part that's gonna face that way, a gunmetal. I even did a little bit of a gun steel around there, and then glued a tiny little red SMD LED on there. And then what we'll do is we'll just glue her right like that. We'll have to do a little bit of I'll probably tape it first, and so I can make sure that LED's centered in the lens there, so it looks good. But the small little SMD LED gave it that little eye look instead of like the smallest regular bulb LED I have is a 3mm, and it just glued the whole thing bright, and that's not really how it looks like. It's like a pinpoint light, and this kind of gave you more of that effect. So, but yeah, we just gotta put him on. And we got to put a resistor on him, and then we're going to attach him to this plug, which will plug. This is actually a leftover from an end I cut off the Falcon. Those were the yellow and tan. So I got to make sure which one's yellow, if the yellow is positive or negative. And it's just how it plugs in. Actually, I could probably just look up this jack. Alright, so the yellow is going to be the negative, because of the way they connect in. Yep, that wire goes to that side. So the yellow is the negative. So you know what? Just learned that. This is what I did with the Falcon ones too. So mark this side red. I remember. And do it on the plastic, because it's much easier to see. There we go. So I remember. But I figured I'd use that old scrap end. I cut it off for, I don't know, I think I combined a bunch of things, and then, to one jack, so I didn't need this jack. And I don't need one of these real long ones. So, but yeah, we'll do that. Get a resistor on him, and get this one installed. The headlights look great. So, I'll be right back when I get all that done. We'll check that out. Well, I did a little change on the Hal-Eye. For a couple reasons. One, I wasn't really liking the big, clear, open spot when I look on the actual photos of the set, at least, pods. It was really, what they did is they put a camera lens in there and then had a little red eye. The piece that they give you is huge. So that's like way bigger than a camera lens. And then when you put a red light back there, it kind of glows that whole red light. Even using, I got a little SMD LED that I'm gonna glue to the back of this, and that definitely gives me the nice pinpoint red eye. I already tested it, and it gives you that nice little pinpoint. Glows a little bit of the plastic because that's just what clear plastic will do, but you can still see that focused little red point, so it looks more like a halide, where this, even with that, it still didn't look right. And then two, when I had this installed and glued it to the back, it must have got some vapors in there and started turning the plastic all kinds of wiggly wobbly. So, and that was my bad, that it just leaked back in there. And so then I also had a very foggy plastic piece. So, but sometimes bad things happen for a reason. It forced me to find another way to do this. And what I did is I dug in I always keep everything from extra parts of models, or these are styrene clippings, but here's like landing geared bay doors from the little tiny Vipers. I got, here's Enterprise things that go around the deflector dish. These were for the A, where I did the refit. I got all kinds of like spare parts, landing gears from the Viper, some tubing from the big D'Agostine X-Wing. I got all these little clear parts that go into like the refit. I think most of them, those are the spot ones, which I end up just putting an actual bulb and getting rid of the clear part, because then I could direct the bulb. But they give you a lot of extras, because a lot of times they'll print, two sprues that are exactly the same, because the parts are pretty much exactly the same, but you might only need some of them. So yeah, I got a bunch of clear parts from everything. I didn't use, here's a clear part for the it's to the refit. What is that? It's not the officer's lounge, it's up top, but the rec deck. And you put a photo etch piece in there, so you don't need this clear part anymore. I keep all that stuff because it comes in handy for something. And yeah, for some reason I kept I don't even know if I have another one, but I kept a round dome part. I think it's from the NX1. It could be from the refit. Has two crystals that sit up on top of the nacelles, but I think it's from the NX1 that had a dome back here, and for some reason they gave you two, or the clear parts were double because things are on this side were the same on this side, so they made a double clear part. So that just happened to have, each tree sprue had one of those little domes, and it fits perfectly in there, like it just fits in there. So what I did is went and painted and it has a tiny little lens hole. So, and then it has the grid, kind of like the grid on this part here. It has that little grid on here as well, so that kind of ties it in. Then it has that little tiny recessed clear area that kind of looks like a camera lens. So I went and painted the outer part of that clear, around that circle, clear circle, black to light block it. And then I went back in through and then hit it with some silver, and a flat silver, and it looks great. And it's light blocked, and then when you stick the little light back there, it gives you that nice pinpoint light. You don't have this big, because otherwise this whole area was glowing red, and you'd have a little, but HAL is always a little lens, not that huge. So that kind of really made it look much better. And if you look at the photos there's a photo of him where he's inside, Dave is inside, I guess, and it's backing out for him to go out, and you can see the front, and you can see it's clearly a little lens. Theirs actually projects like a lens. It even actually sticks out further. That would be great if this had that little part where that's clear part here would stick out further, because then also I would like to chrome that rim. But this still gives you more of a accurate look than the big whatever size piece this is. That was the ear lens, which is way too big in my books. This looks really much better because the camera lens that they put in the actual set piece was really, small, like a camera lens would kind of be, maybe about like that. And you think this thing's probably like that big in real life, and then it had a smaller camera lens. So it definitely makes it look way more accurate. So sometimes you have bad things happen that you have to fix, because I couldn't leave that piece in there. It's just way too foggy. It ruined the pin. When it fogged up that plastic, it also spread the light out, so it made it less, it just made it look like a big red light. And I want Hal to look like a pin light, like he really is. So I'm just waiting for it to dry, and I think this time I'm going to canopy glue, which I should have done the first time, but like I said, happy little accents. And we'll just canopy glue it. I don't know if I can get like a little bit of super glue, put it on a toothpick and just, and put it down in there. But I'm still scared that something's going to go down there and fog that up. So I think I'm just going to canopy glue it and then just put a big piece of tape over it to hold it down, and that should be fine. There's no real tugging to it. But other than that, the lights look good. The headlights, and I have this all pre-wired, ready to go. I got it on the connector so I can plug it into the board. Already resisted, it's ready to go. If I turn it on, there it is, and that'll give me that nice little pin light. Went with the smallest, and actually works great, that size. So that's where we're at with that. So that was a little setback. And I think my display base is finally dry enough. I did the white, and this white here is going to be for to do the pinstripe. So I'm going to take a little pinstriping tape and then put that down, and then spray her black. I have some sanding to do because there's some hairs up here, but it didn't really matter. I knew I was going to scuff. My main concern was to keep it nice here, so I can do a nice pinstripe. But the paint, I used the kind of metallic-y white that I used on the Enterprise refit, which I'll never use on a model again like that, because it takes forever to dry. B, the unless you can get in a can and spray it on an airbrush, it's the spray cans get clumpy. As you can I don't know if you can see, there's a couple clumps, but I'll scuff those. They can get sanded away before I do the black. I just want to get this nice pinstripe done, and then I'll go and scuff these little bumps and they'll be gone. But yeah, it took like more than a day, and I hit it with a dryer a couple times. Still has a little bit, but not enough. I can actually stick tape down. Did a little test, because that's what I'm really worried about, is sticking this down and peeling up and it go ripping, paint up. But I did give it a good scuff too with Scotch-Brite to get a good scuff on it, so it had something to grab. Anytime you're going to lay masks down, especially if you're Aztecing a saucer, your base coat, you really want to make sure your plastic is cleaned. And I also prefer giving it a scuff too, because it adds tooth. Not only just cleaning them with dish soap and stuff like that. I think getting yourself a good things of Scotch-Brite, it won't really scratch the plastic to the point where you're gonna see it. You get 2 coats, good 2 coats of primer, and any scratches that will give you will be gone. But then you have that good bite. Your primer is biting in there good, and then that'll allow your base coat to really grab onto a primer that's adhered really good. But yeah, now I can actually go and pinstripe this, and then we can get this painted black. Got my hole in the back for the jack. We got our hole in for the pole. Drilled some holes I first drilled holes this way to run the cables to the buttons, and I'm like, that's right, there's going to be a block of wood there. So yeah, that's not a good idea. So I had to re-drill some holes this way to run wire this way to all the buttons. which will be great because your power switch is here. So first thing it's going to do is, you know, power is going to come through. It'll go to there. And then these, I'll probably have to drill another hole because this will have the block. But when the pole comes down, I'm going to have to drill another hole for them to get there. So I didn't think about that either. But yeah, that's where we're at. Just wanted to do a quick little update. So see you soon.